President Bola Tinubu now has 4 more days, according to the law, to send his ministerial list to the National Assembly for screening, 56 days after he took the oath of office as the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thanks for joining us on the program as we continue to monitor developments in his first 100 days in office. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Remember to use the hashtag first 100 days on Twitter, tag at TVC News NG, and at Nifemi Oguntoye. Well, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, is assuring Nigerians of government's plans to ease the pains of the hike in the price of petrol. Mr. Akume said in a tweet, quote, "As our team takes shape, I want to remind you all that President Tinubu came prepared. He came with a plan. He knows what to do and is doing it. He has nurtured this vision for decades and is now bringing it to life," end quote. While describing the subsidy regime as regressive, he said the country needed to end it. He asks Nigerians to be patient as government is already working out modalities to ensure market forces normalize pricing. Let's get more updates from the presidential villa where State House correspondent Femi Akonde is joining us live from. Femi, it would seem government is asking Nigerians to be more understanding and cooperative with its economic restoration plan, part of which, according to the SGF, is diversifying the economy. Is there a sense to which the SGF provided more details than we already know?
Yes, the SGF is just reiterating what is already in the public space. President Bola Tinubu's plans to revamp the economy, especially now that there's so much hardship caused by the removal of petrol subsidy, and the president is working to ensure that this hardship is reduced. The impact of this hardship is reduced through different kinds of interventions introduced by the federal government. Well, you know what? For now, the SGF is the only member of the Federal Executive Council that has been sworn in or taken the oath of office after the president and the vice president. So a lot rests on the shoulder and on the desk of the SGF. He has been quite busy in the past days, also ensuring that he communicates effectively government's plans and programs, assuring Nigerians that indeed President Bola Tinubu has a plan. He came prepared for the job, and he just needs that time, understanding and patience to be shown on the part of Nigerians, that time to allow him do the job. So much is happening. Nigerians are becoming impatient, understandably so, but what he's saying is that, well, more time will be needed and people should just give President Bola Tinubu that benefit of doubt. We have seen the palliative programs rolled out by the National Economic Council. We are beginning to see the involvement of state governors in ensuring that this is cascaded to the grassroots in collaboration with the local government in their states. So a lot is happening, and we expect that in the coming days we'll begin to see the full implementation of these palliative programs that are meant for a short-term period to cushion the hardship caused by the removal of petrol subsidy. Nifemi.
Believe me, many Nigerians are counting on that. I've even heard some say that perhaps it's time for the president to address the nation again, saying the challenges that many people now face aftermath the removal of fuel subsidy. But over the weekend, Femi, there were talks about certain individuals who allegedly did not pass the security check at the DSS for the ministerial list. The long wait has now given room for a lot of gist in this regard. What are you hearing?
If I made the rumor mill is very full, I can tell you that there are speculations here and there, but it's going to be very dangerous for us to just go with some of these speculations, because a lot of them are untrue. We are not hearing anything from the official quarters here in the presidency. The special advisor to the president on special duties, communication and strategy, Dele Alake, has asked people to wait, has told us to wait, to be patient, that indeed President Bola Tinubu is busy sorting out who gets what and how, ensuring that his federal cabinet is formed within that 60-day grace as provided by law. And we know that there is already the countdown to the expiration of that period stipulated by the law, and he has assured that before that time expires, President Bola Tinubu will unveil his ministerial list. He will send it to the Senate for screening and confirmation. We know that there are a lot of processes ongoing, like you rightly said. These nominees, people who he has nominated as ministers designate, will have to be screened by the DSS, by anti-corruption agencies and some other relevant government agencies. They will have to do a lot of background checks, and so many checks and profiling will be done before these names are eventually sent to the Senate. All of that we know are ongoing, but who is on those, what names are on those lists, we do not know. And when it will get to the National Assembly, we do not know. But one thing we may be able to say confidently is that before the expiration of that 60-day time stipulated by law, that list will get to the Senate. Nifemi.
Well, perhaps it is safe to say it is not speculative that Nigerians would know about this list before the end of this week, Femi. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's a safe way to say it.
Femi Akode live for us at the Presidential Villa. Good to see you, Femi. When we return after this break, we're turning our attention to what the Senate thinks about this ministerial list. There were talks last week about the fact that the Senate leadership already received the list from the executive. We'll be talking to the Senate spokesman in a short while. We'll also be asking questions about the 110 billion naira of the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act that we're hearing will be spent on senators. Stay with us. Well, reactions have continued to trail the purported allocation of billions of naira to the 10th National Assembly. Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP has urged the Senate President and Speaker of the House of Reps to drop the scandalous plan, according to them, to spend 40 billion naira on 465 exotic and bulletproof cars for both members and principal officers, and 70 billion naira to support the working conditions of new members. SERAP urging them to repeal the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act to reduce the budget for the National Assembly by 110 billion naira in order to reflect the current economic realities in the country and address the impact of the removal of fuel subsidy on the over 137 million poor Nigerians. The organization has also given the National Assembly a 7-day ultimatum, which I believe expired earlier. Human rights activist, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, a senior advocate of Nigeria, has also condemned the National Assembly's decision to allocate 70 billion naira as palliatives for its members, describing the move as illegal and insulting. According to the senior lawyer, the decision blatantly contravenes the Section 70 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, which outlines the appropriate remuneration and allowances for members of the National Assembly. Also reacting to this development are some concerned Nigerians on the Forensic Politics and Governance Twitter Spaces platform. The group has now written a letter to both arms of the National Assembly on the allocation of 70 billion naira to improve the working conditions and 40 billion naira for procurement of vehicles for members. I'm just told right now that the Senate spokesman just cancelled on us, so we're going to be speaking right now with political analyst Daniel Awolaja, who's joining me live from Rivers State. Mr. Awolaja, I understand that your group was in Abuja over the weekend to gather some signatures for this petition. How many people signed it?
Yes, good evening. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, yes, we gathered over 2,000 signatures on that just a few hours, and we have delivered the letter. We have an acknowledgement copy. The letter has also been published in a national daily.
All right, so the Senate spokesperson was scheduled to join us on this program, but he just cancelled. We probably will be speaking with him tomorrow. But there seemed to be some confusion with the 70 billion naira, which was part of the 500 billion naira Supplementary Appropriation Act of 2022. Initially, we were told that it was for, the working condition of new members. But we also had another submission saying that it's for renovation of the National Assembly complex. What more do you know about that?
Yes, same thing you had is what we had. First, we were alarmed when we heard that at a time that Nigerians are enduring, at a time that the SGF is telling us to endure, at a time where we are tightening our belts, it came very alarming that the Senate thought it wise or appropriate to appropriate the sum of 70 billion for improving working conditions. Because we believe if there's anything that needs improvement now, it is the life of an average Nigerian that will be negatively impacted by some of these policies. Let me also state that we believe that this decision is necessary. We believe that this decision is required to set us on the path of prosperity and progress. But we also know that in the short term, it is going to come with some hardship. And that is why it comes to us as very unconscionable, saddening and disheartening that at this time, the Senate wants to allocate 70 billion to renovate the National Assembly. Moving from the propriety of the 70 billion, let us even look at the legality of it. As at 2020, a contract was awarded for the renovation of this same assembly. A contract of 30 billion, 229 million, 209,835 naira 35 kobo. As at 2021, 9 billion was released. 2022, 21 billion was released. This particular contract was supposed to be concluded as at August 15, 2023, which is just 2 months away. So we are now asking, is the National Assembly Mountain Everest or the National Assembly something that every 7 market days that you have to renovate? Now, even before we recovered from that, we now had another news that 40 billion was also allocated for exotic vehicles. You see, it comes to us as if the National Assembly members are living in an hermetically sealed chamber where they are not connecting with the plight of an average Nigerian. Because you cannot say you are cruising Land Cruisers or you are cruising exotic vehicles where an average Nigerian is trekking, when some of this policy has brought about hardship, though we know that this policy is necessary. To us, that is sending a wrong signal across, because if there's something that the president or the government needs now is to communicate strategically with Nigerians. And if there's any way they need to communicate, it should be by action, not just by words. So if only 469 people have decided to allocate 110 billion to themselves, we are asking, is this endurance only for Nigerians? Nigerians are tightening our belts. We are now asking the Senate, our senators, our legislators, please, where is your belt? Because this belt is not for us to be tightening alone. Where is your belt? The president also came and he told us that let the poor breathe. Don't suffocate them. We believe this 70 billion and this 40 billion is a knee on the neck of an average Nigerian. Because you cannot be telling us to let the poor breathe and you are allocating 110 billion for what we consider.
I hear you, Mr. Awolaja. If the 40 billion naira claim is anything to go by for 469 lawmakers. That will be 85 billion naira on an average for each lawmaker, and that's just to procure, vehicles. You put that side by side with the initial plan by government to give 8,000 naira to 12 million households, then we understand your position. But in this letter you have written to the National Assembly, you also highlighted certain engagements. Can you talk to us about that? What exactly are you asking the National Assembly to do right now?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, one of the reasons why we came up with this type of engagement is particularly to widen the civic space, to energize the civic space, to engage with those we have voted in a constructive, productive, and civil manner towards the common good of an average Nigerian. So we are saying, perhaps what we are hearing is not true. Perhaps that 70 billion could be meant for another thing. We are saying, dear senators, dear House of Rep members, come and speak to us on this platform. Come and engage with an average Nigerian, because maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know that 63.3% of Nigerians are living under poverty, which represents about 133 million people. Maybe they don't also know that the rural poor population is about 72%, right? Or maybe they don't also know that an average Nigerian spends 55 to 60% on food. And maybe they don't know that this kind of policies, though, like I said, which is very necessary, will more or less push more people down the poverty line. So we are now saying, let us give you feedback. Let us tell you how we are feeling. Perhaps we will use this feedback to adjust what you have allocated to yourself, because the National Assembly is constitutionally empowered to appropriate funds. Now, at a time, the president is preaching fiscal readjustment, fiscal revival. Let us manage what we spend. We know that Nigeria has a revenue problem, and we know that Nigeria has a cost of spending problem. The cost of governance problem is also an issue that has to, to tie into what you are trying to do fiscally. So we are now saying, if the president is telling us, let us manage what we are spending, this 70 billion and this 40 billion does not tie into that vision, does not tie into what the president is saying. And as the arm of government empowered to appropriate, you cannot say you are morally appropriating 110 billion for renovation and vehicle. That to us is moral misappropriation, because the scarce resources that we have now is supposed to be directed to where it matters most, and that is in lifting the plight and ameliorating the plight of an average Nigerian.
What's the group's position on, I also hear you in the letter. I saw a low-cost alternative, like patronizing local producers. Precisely, we know what the position of the 9th Assembly was in that regard. Are you expecting the 10th Assembly to change its mind?
Yes, we expect them to change, because there is dollar scarcity, presently, and that is why the Naira rate is tumbling. The president is also talking of import substitution. Import substitution basically is anything that we are producing, please don't import. That is the way to strengthen the Naira. So we are saying, perhaps if you have to cruise any vehicle at all, if you have to cruise any jeep at all, we have the innocents, we have the nods, we have local car assembling plants that you can patronize. What we are just saying is, lead by example. Please exemplify what you preach. We cannot be saying, buy Nigeria to grow Naira, and at that same vein, the members of our Senate, the members of the National Assembly are deciding to import vehicles with scarce resources. That way, you cannot tell us you want to strengthen the Naira. Rather, you are weakening the Naira more. Thank you.
You submitted this letter to the National Assembly today with a copy showing acknowledgement of receipt. What response have you gotten?
Yes, till now, we have not gotten any response yet. We just submitted it today. But we believe, going through, going by the way we have explained our plight and going by the tone of the letter, we expect a positive response. We expect a positive response. Though we are yet to get any, but we expect a positive response.
We understand that the National Assembly might be delaying its annual vacation to receive the ministerial nominee list in the coming days, and it's possibly going to be, a busy couple of days for the lawmakers. Are there other alternatives for the group if the lawmakers do not respond to this letter?
Yes, like we said, we want to energize, and we have energized the civic space. At the point of gathering those signatures, we were also informing and educating Nigerians on their right to engage in the civic space. So even if they don't respond, we will still write another letter and we will still mount pressure. But like I said, I believe that they will respond. You see, the Senate cannot say they are too busy to attend to what Nigerians are saying. Before they were voted in during election, we know what happens. They are never too busy for us. They eat corn with us, they plait hair with us, they go to churches, they go to mosques, they become mechanics. You see them everywhere. So at the point of transiting to office, they cannot now start telling us that they are too busy for us. We believe the level of engagement should not change. It should not change drastically or radically pre and post election. So they cannot say they are too busy for us, because they represent Nigerians. And there's something I also have to say. This is the most diverse National Assembly political wise. You have APC, you have PDP, you have LP, you have NNPP, you have SDP. It is also the most stratified. You have old, you have young. You have the not so rich, you have the rich, you have the very rich. So, if at this point, at the dinner table of sharing the national cake, we are not hearing anything, nobody is throwing chair, nobody is tearing clothes, nobody is making noise. This conspiracy of silence around the dinner table is also worrisome, because we would have expected, maybe some of them would have said, no, at this point in time, of our national growth, this is not what we expect you to be doing. But we can see, we did not hear anything. We did not even hear a whimper. All of them just did firm. So we as Nigerians, we should also come together, regardless of tribe, religion, or political.
Mr. Wolaja, you're sounding like you are new to the system. We never hear any form of division when it comes to, sharing the funds and monies that will better the life of lawmakers and the operation of the National Assembly. So we probably do not expect anything to change in the 10th Assembly. But a big thank you to you. We have to go now. That's our time, Mr. Wolaja. Okay. We probably will continue this conversation subsequently. We also expect to speak with the chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, who was scheduled to join us on the program today. Perhaps he will oblige us tomorrow. That's our program today. You can watch a repeat broadcast at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Good to see you.